this episode of In the Fight. NATO pledges its resolute support to training and advising Afghan troops beyond 2014. Combat Search and Rescue Airmen in Japan hone their skills for deployment downrange. Airmen and Marines develop leadership bonds by training side by side. We learn about a type of therapy used to detect and treat traumatic brain injuries. And we see the toll that post-traumatic stress disorder can take on returning veterans. With the mission of the NATO-led International Security Assistance Force officially ending in less than 2 years, many fear a return to instability in Afghanistan. As NATO Channel correspondent Ruth Owen reports, NATO is helping to calm this fear by pledging its assistance beyond the end of 2014.
NATO Secretary-General Anders Fogh Rasmussen visited Afghanistan, where he reaffirmed NATO's commitment to a training mission after the International Security Assistance Force mission ends in 2014. He announced in a joint press conference with President Hamid Karzai the name of the new mission would be Resolute Support, and would see a number of NATO forces remain in the country to train, mentor and advise the Afghan security forces.
That mission will be called Resolute Support, because our support for Afghanistan remains steadfast, to provide training, advice and assistance after 2014.
He met new ISAF commander General Joseph Dunford for an operational update and spoke with a number of young Afghan civil society members from the organization Afghanistan 1400 before flying to Helmand province, the focus for the surge of US forces into Afghanistan during 2010. At the Provincial Reconstruction Team, the Secretary-General visited ISAF Special Forces, who mentor Afghan Special Operations soldiers.
Afghan Special Operations Forces will be the bedrock of Afghan security in the future. So obviously they will also need our continued training, advice and assistance.
After meeting the provincial governor, Mohammed Naeem, the Secretary-General said that seeing progress for himself was key.
I have visited Helmand on several occasions, first time in 2007, but also on later occasions, and it's an impressive development. We all know that Helmand was, still is, one of the hotspots, but it's incredibly encouraging what we're witnessing here.
Helmand now sees Afghan forces take the lead in security for 3/4 of the province, a vast change to previous heavy fighting between insurgents and international forces, which now mainly take a mentoring role. This summer will see the entire country's security given over to Afghan lead, a milestone in the transition process. Ruth Owen in Afghanistan for the NATO Channel.
ISAF forces and the people of Bamyan province have worked hard to make their city one of the safest areas in Afghanistan. Army Specialist Alicia Greslick takes us to the place of shining light to see how Afghan forces plan to sustain their peace as coalition forces leave the area.
Bamyan province is the base of operations for the New Zealand Peacekeeping Force. Colonel Sholto Stevens, New Zealand Defence Force Senior Military Advisor, reflects on his time spent as the commander of the 21st and final contingency force to serve there.
We've been very fortunate in our decade here in Bamyan province that the local populace has always been trying to create a peaceful and stable environment so that their kids can go to school, they can go and receive health treatment as they need to. They can produce crops and sell them at the markets and just go about their normal lives.
Stevens feels their handover is important to make the Afghan security forces successful, not just for the immediate future, but also for the years to come. Habiba Sarabi, provincial governor of Bamyan province for the last 8 years, believes the people of Bamyan and the Afghan security forces can work together to maintain the peace.
It might not be continued the same. Of course, there will be some change, but we do have the hope to continue, of course, and also to keep the security and safety sustainable.
Provincial Chief of Police Abdul Razak agrees with the governor and further focuses on sustainable security for the people of Bamyan.
I'm working to increase the number of Bamyan Afghan National Police and also focus on their training and education after the international forces leave. We will still focus on potential troubles in Bamyan so the peace and stability that exist in here can continue.
Stevens hopes the people of Bamyan will look back and remember the sacrifices of the New Zealand forces.
I'd like to think they would think of us as having been a big brother for about a decade's period of time.
Reporting from Bamyan Province, Afghanistan, I'm Specialist Alicia Greslick.
The front lines of Afghanistan are no place for on-the-job training. Combat Search and Rescue Airmen in Kadena, Japan recently participated in an exercise they call War Week, which prepares them for saving lives downrange. Airman First Class Tyler Prince brings us this story.
This training is the culmination of everything that we train for, and it's all done in a live, real-world, as close to real-world scenario as we can get. So I'd say this is the most beneficial training to the missions that we're doing in Afghanistan.
War Week is a chance for combat search and rescue troops to get together with their maintenance, IDMTs, PJs, all crew positions, and just work out scenarios that we would normally have overseas and just perfect them. So you can work out the little kinks here and then everything will be working smooth over there, and that's what we want.
It pulls us all together, including our pararescue jumpers in the back. So we're playing with everyone that we're going to be flying with downrange, which I think is one of the most beneficial pieces. We get to work out a lot of our communication and coordination so that we're working smoothly together.
A lot of the new guys who haven't actually deployed yet, they actually get to see firsthand what it's like to actually scramble on alert, get the helicopters off in like 5 minutes, you know, get the pace going for them, see what's actually required for them. It's good to actually see the experience before it's actually thrown at them in the AOR.
That it's as realistic as possible, from the scramble launch, our intel scenarios, to the scenarios that we see out there. They're modeled exactly after the scenarios that we're going to see downrange.
Rescue is a very tight-knit community to begin with, but when we actually deploy, it's we're a tight family. There's, you know, it's not ops maintenance, we're rescue downrange, and you know, we actually get to taste a bit of that, get to work with each other and actually see how we're actually going to work together down in the range. So.
Saving other people's lives, putting your life on the line, I mean, and working with people that do the same, there's no other mission like it.
Hi, my name's Specialist Cameron Stanton, Echo Company 210 BSB out here at 5 Oregon E. I'd like to give a shout out to my wife, Casey. I love you, and I'll see you soon.
Hi, my name is Sergeant Michael Hippert, 5 Ghazni, Afghanistan. I'd like to say hello to my friends and family back home. I love you, I miss you, be safe. Mom and Dad, I love you.
Hi, my name is First Lieutenant Kelsey Clark. I'm with 2nd Brigade Special Troops Battalion in Afghanistan. And I just want to say hey to my husband, First Lieutenant Jason Clark. I love you and I miss you very much.
Coming up, Airmen and Marines train side by side. And we learn how brain injuries can affect your vision. Check out DVIDSHub.net for the latest accurate and reliable information as In the Fight continues. Afghanistan is roughly the size of which U.S. state? The answer when we return.
With the new Military 24/7 app from DVIDS, you turn your favorite mobile device into a window to the front lines. Connect with your nation's finest men and women through our video and photography archives and stay up to date with news reported directly from service members. Quickly share information and breaking stories with friends via Facebook, Twitter, or email. News, photos, video. Your military 24/7.
From combat-related stress to the day-to-day stressors of life.
This package is going to be completed.
This is the fourth time this week.
Stress can affect every Marine and Marine family. The De-Stress Line provides anonymous counseling for Marines and Marine families when it's needed most. If you're feeling the effects of stress, call today and let us help you win your personal battles.
Afghanistan is roughly the size of which U.S. state? The answer is D, Texas. Hawaii's toughest and smartest Army National Guard soldiers recently competed in a grueling 3-day test of physical and mental endurance in hopes of moving on to compete against other Guardsmen on a national level. As Air Force Tech Sergeant Michael Jackson reports, every competitor is a winner.
9 soldiers spent their weekend in a battle against themselves and each other.
Hold that arm! Hold the arm!
For the title of Best Warrior in the Hawaii Army National Guard.
These are the best of the best soldiers. We got 9 competitors from all the different MSCs, and these soldiers work hard to get where they're at today. But every soldier here is a winner.
The competition happened over 3 days of exhausting physical and mental trials.
Clear.
But most of the soldiers agreed on what they saw as the biggest challenge.
12-mile ruck march was probably the most challenging part for me. The most challenging part so far was the ruck march.
It's probably the ruck march for me, definitely the 12-mile ruck march.
This 12-mile road march was probably the most challenging thing I've ever done in my life.
In addition to marching 12 miles in the heat with all their gear, the soldiers had challenge stations along the way that tested their casualty treatment, high crawl, low crawl, and hand grenade use, and their ability to use rules of engagement in dealing with media and protesters. The soldiers were here to compete, but they found the events to be useful training.
This Best Warrior competition, it'll put you to the test physically and mentally, and it's worth the effort. This competition actually is a good refresher, and it shows how they'd react in a real-life situation, and that's very valuable in sustaining your soldier skills.
1 junior enlisted and 1 non-commissioned officer will go to the regional competition in Fort Carson, Colorado. They'll compete against best warriors from other state National Guards. Tech Sergeant Michael Jackson, Bellows Air Station, Hawaii.
In the military, rivalries are often seen as a negative influence on its own effectiveness. However, rivalry can also encourage positive outcomes. Airman First Class Darren Murphy takes us to Camp Hansen to show us the importance of 2 branches developing leadership bonds together.
A group of Kadena senior non-commissioned officers recently participated in the Marine Corps NCO Academy course. A class of 33 senior NCOs from the Air Force and Marines went through an 8-week class that ended with a confidence course and simulated casualty evacuation. The course helped Air Force Master Sergeant Mark James realize the challenges that both services face.
It's a different culture, but a lot of the challenges that face the Marine Corps face the Air Force, personnel, budget, deployment, suicides, training, all of those things that face the Air Force also faces the Marine Corps, and what I'm finding out through their PME is that it's very similar.
These similarities are a reason why Gunnery Sergeant Sarah Thomas says that communication between the Air Force and Marine Corps is key to mission success.
Us being able to work well with the Air Force and communicate well with the Air Force, and them to understand how we do things as leaders, then when we go to combat, we will be able to fight on a joint environment a lot more smoothly.
By coming together to understand each other, we build even further on the camaraderie that defines military life. As we train and fight together, there isn't a divide in branches, but a common goal for mission success. Airman First Class Darren Murphy, Camp Hansen, Japan.
Often referred to as TBI, a traumatic brain injury can be a life-altering event, and not uncommon for service members. Air Force Tech Sergeant Bert Traynor introduces us to a type of therapy being used to visually detect and treat TBI symptoms.
And out of the red.
It is said that eyes are windows to the soul. For optometrist Lieutenant Colonel Deborah McNamara, these windows are key to revealing an issue affecting an average of 1.7 million Americans each year.
Vision disorders are common with traumatic brain injury, and a lot of times people have a hard time explaining what's going on with their vision. Brianna, I'd like you to look out there at that age.
Using an intern at the clinic, Lieutenant Colonel McNamara demonstrates some of the vision tests used to evaluate those experiencing a traumatic brain injury.
Reddish white. Good, I want you.
The range of patients can include deployed soldiers who experienced a blast-related event to something as simple as an accident on the school playground.
Right there. Good. Sometimes patients will show up at the optometry clinic thinking they're just going to come in for a routine exam. They don't really understand that they've been referred to us because of their traumatic brain injury. So, we have to explain to them it's more than just covering one eye and calling out the letters, because they may see perfectly fine with one eye at a time, but as soon as you uncover the eyes, if they do not have good binocular function, they might start to see double or some blurring, or they have a head tilt. Maybe they can't focus up close, and we have to explain that this might be causing some of the symptoms that they have, like their headaches, the blurring of distance and near vision when they transition from distance to near. And these are things that we can work on and perform vision therapy and make them more comfortable and able to function better.
Optometry evaluations from Landstuhl Regional Medical Center are being used as part of wider research efforts on the relationship between visual symptoms and traumatic brain injury.
Closer to you, you tell me when it starts. I believe the research will show that the earlier you get someone in for an eye exam and have those conditions addressed, that the better off they're going to be. Because a lot of these soldiers don't realize what's going on, that it's something simple that can be fixed by optometry. Back out to the red.
No matter the severity or type of head injury you might have experienced, a full vision exam is worth looking into. Tech Sergeant Bert Traynor, Landstuhl, Germany.
Hello, my name is Staff Sergeant Christopher Lafrada, and I'm stationed here at FOB Oregon E with 214 Infantry. I'd like to give a shout out to my daughter back home, Lillian Lafrada. I love you, and I'll see you soon.
Hi, my name is Lieutenant Thompson from Wellsboro, Pennsylvania. I just wanted to say hello to my mom, my two brothers, and my two sisters back home.
Hey, my name is Specialist Nahara. I just want to give a shout out to my beautiful wife, Jeanette, and my two girls, Giselle and Eliza. I'll be home soon. Love you, girls.
Coming up, we see the toll that post-traumatic stress disorder can take on returning veterans. And we'll showcase some of the best photos from our service members as In the Fight, presented by DVIDS, continues. Shell shock, an early term for post-traumatic stress disorder, was coined in what year? The answer when we return.
I want to give a shout out to my family and friends.
I want to send a shout out to my husband,
To my parents, my family back home.
I'd like to give a shout out to my girlfriend.
To my family and friends in Lansing, Michigan.
To my family out in Tucson, Arizona.
My beautiful wife and children in Des Moines, Iowa.
To everybody in Texas.
In York, Pennsylvania.
Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Chicago, Illinois.
Harrisonburg, Virginia.
Orlando, Florida. Oceanside, California.
And Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
I love you guys. I miss you, and I hope I'll see you soon.
Training is about more than muscle. It's about inner strength. So I push myself. That's why I serve in the United States Coast Guard. I train with the best, a team that shares my drive and commitment. We collect intelligence, guard our shores against drug smugglers, and keep our waterways safe, because our nation expects more.
If you expect more, maybe you were born ready. Find out at GoCoastGuard.com.
With the new Military 24/7 app from DVIDS, you turn your favorite mobile device into a window to the front lines. Connect with your nation's finest men and women through our video and photography archives and stay up to date with news reported directly from service members. Quickly share information and breaking stories with friends via Facebook, Twitter, or email. News, photos, video. Your military 24/7.
Shell shock, an early term for post-traumatic stress disorder, was coined in what year? The answer is B, 1915. Most people prefer not to bring their work home with them, and when you're fighting on the front lines in Afghanistan, this is especially true. Unfortunately for many returning veterans, the line between combat and home can often be blurred by symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder. Army Staff Sergeant Robert Ham met with one wounded warrior who is coping with his PTSD symptoms with a little help from his fellow veterans.
I used to be able to determine combat zone and home, but now to me, everything's combat zone. It's a pretty ugly thing. You always think someone's out to get you, and you're 2 steps ahead of them. You're ready and just waiting. And that's because of the PTSD. PTSD is no joke, and if you got it, you'll understand exactly what I'm saying. I joined the Army in May of '96. I've been in 16 years come May, and I've been on 4 deployments. Every day was a fight for survival. You just didn't know when it was coming, but you knew it was coming. Our main objective was to man the front gate. Anybody come through that front gate, they were dead. All of a sudden, we hear one whistle. First round lands on the left-hand side of us. It knocks me and all my guys on our backs. We jump up. The last mortar round, an RPG recoilless round, landed 6 to 8 feet in front of me and my guys. It blew me down first, and then 5 to 6 of my guys got hurt, and 2 of them seriously wounded. I had a hole the size of my fist in my right thigh, and my penis was split right down the middle for stomach to the rim of the head. When I first came to in the infirmary out in Cobb Honaker in the Pest Valley, where I was out there with Gun Dogs Delta Company, I was hysterical, just in shock, and me and my wife were always thinking about having a 3rd kid, so that's a no-go, it's over. Felt like I was useless. I had no job, I had no soldiers. I couldn't function, couldn't think on my own, I couldn't walk on my own. I had to have help in and out of the bathtub, on and off the toilet. It's one of the hard things I've ever had to go through. I think about my wife and kids. If it wasn't for my wife and kids, I could probably guarantee you I wouldn't be here. My wife put up with a lot. I put her through hell, and she's still here with me. It just shows how strong of a woman she is.
Well, we've been together almost 8 years. I love him, and you know, they say through sickness and in health, it's from night to day, the way he was before he left. It was to the point where, I almost was crying every day because I didn't know how much longer I could take it anymore. I guess they called him level black, which is like the very worst.
There's a lot of things that come along with severe PTSD. Sleepwalking, can't sleep for days at a time. When you do sleep, you only sleep for an hour or 2 and you're right back up for 3 or 4 days. Hallucinations, constantly thinking about the situation that what was at hand that put you in the situation you are in now. Thinking about and seeing the faces of the soldiers that either passed on or got hurt severely. That's an everyday struggle for me. Staff Sergeant Cabinet, San Antonio, Texas. Been in 16 years. Me and my guys got hit by 4 mortars at a recoilless RPG round. 11 pieces of shrapnel in the, that's what you can say, it's the midsection. 5 straight to the bone through the same hole. That was a really big help to be around other vets and soldiers that have been into similar circumstances, like getting wounded or getting blown up and getting hurt real bad. We all could relate, And from the day that I walked in there until the day that I walked out and graduated, let me tell you something, that makes a really big difference for somebody just to understand. That treatment, being around those guys that have been through similar situations, it's one of the best things ever. I used to blame myself all the time for them soldiers getting hurt and almost coming to death, but I also got to realize I was the first one to get hit, and I also got to understand and tell myself that it wasn't my fault because I did everything I could to keep my soldiers safe, and I was the first one to get blown down. So that's another part that keeps me going. And I think that helps me move along sometimes. My squad leader, platoon sergeant, commander, first sergeant, all them guys and the medical staff have really taken good care of me and went above and beyond on my behalf, and I just want to say thank you because I couldn't ask for no better leadership or chain of command.
DVIDS is a 24/7 operation that provides a timely, accurate, and reliable connection between the media and the military serving worldwide. Through a network of over 200 portable satellite transmitters around the globe and a distribution hub in Atlanta, Georgia, DVIDS gives you access to the front lines with live and archived broadcast video, still imagery, and print products. Visit our website at DVIDSHub.net and search through our enormous video and photo library. Register on our website to gain complete access to high-definition content, along with breaking news alerts and webcasts from top military officials. For questions or comments about In the Fight or DVIDS, you can email us at ondemand@DVIDSHub.net or follow us on Twitter and Facebook. As we close, we feature some of the best photos that DVIDS has to offer, as we listen to Eddie Horst's composition, Pangea. See you next time, In the Fight.